Makes sense to me.
Good with me.
And then skip to the 28th for the next meeting following that.
That's correct.
Okay, makes sense. So 7 PM, sir?
7 p.m.
Okay. Do you need a motion for that?
If we could, please.
So moved.
Second.
And Kevin, call the roll, please.
Mr. Babcock?
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Fogel?
Yes.
Mr. Hannah?
Yes.
And Kevin, if you could take care of getting the public notice on that, that would be wonderful.
Okay, thank you.
Question on that, is the organizational meeting at 6:30 and the council at 7, or this all starts at 7?
We're to start at 7.
Start
Thank you.
7.
Let's go into the minutes of the November 23rd. Oh, also you have the corrected minutes that you approved for November 9th, and Kevin made those corrections, so you have a corrected copy. The minutes for Tuesday, November 23rd, 2021 are here to be approved. Entertain a motion to approve those if council's satisfied with those.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Babcock?
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker?
Abstain.
Mrs. Fogel?
Yes.
Mr. Hannah?
Yes.
Those minutes are approved as submitted. Let's go into finances. So our cash summary by fund page, if you look at that, for the general fund, we have $200,460, which is a very good balance for this time of year, and this would be as of the last day of November. Street construction, $48,519. And of course, the Arpa funds, $124,968. Police levy, $220,945,000. Water operating, $132,866. And of course, to that same $200,000 in our contingency fund for a total of $831,662. Looking at the next report, which I think is the revenue status, page 1, we have collected over $41,000 more in our general fund than what we had anticipated, so we're about 117% there. And of course, we'll have mayor's court and potentially more collection from the Spectrum, the cable franchise. So we're really in good shape there with the collection for this year. On page 2, looking at the street maintenance and repair fund, received to date about 97%. So we will receive some more through the month of December, so we'll be in really good shape there as well. Let's go over to page 3, looking at our police levy, and again, that's right at just about 100%, and that will not change unless some miscellaneous income were to come in. Mike, do you have anything on gov.deals or anything that for sale? Okay, so that's gonna remain the same. Page 4, under the water fund, we've collected 99% of what we anticipated. So when we put in December's collections, we'll actually do a little bit better than we had anticipated. And overall, we've collected about 102% of what we anticipated collecting through November. Appropriation status report. Let's start out in the general fund. If you go to page 2, so we have spent approximately 83% of what we had appropriated. So good job there, Mike, Kevin. Under the street fund, we have spent about 93%, so we're right on track there. We're in good shape. Police levy, that would be on page 3. We're about 92%. And if we go to page 4, in the water fund, we've spent about 91%, so we're in good shape there. Overall, we spent about 90% through the end of November of what we anticipated through our appropriations. And we have the bank reconciliation that Laura has sent over for the month of November. And we would need a motion and a second to approve that, please.
I'll move we accept the bank reconciliation as presented.
I'll second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Babcock?
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Fogel?
Yes.
Mr. Hannah?
Yes.
Okay, and that reconciliation has been approved. Thank you very much.
Tim, let me ask on the cash summary.
Sure.
We have a cash summary balance of roughly 831. And that'll decrease between now and the end of the year because of payrolls, undoubtedly, at the very least. But that is bolstered by the 124 that we have for ARP. So it really will be, in the vicinity of, if it's, I don't know what payroll is. What is payroll again? 20?
This cost page, bank reconciliation would show.
But, with the 124, 125 for that and payroll, we'll be in the 600 range, in the high 600s for the end of the year. But we ended last year at 859. And now we're going to end this year, excluding ARPA funds, in the 650, or in the 690, 680 range. Is that a concern? I mean, since we spent 90% of what we allocated anyway, we went down quite a bit in our carryover from what we did in 20 to 21, from 21 to 22.
And that's a great point. And can I make a point to that?
Sure. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, and some of that is skewed because of what happened in the water department, where that payment that was anticipated, some of that, what was it? It was 100, 200.
For the tower that was,
it come out?
supposed to go in 20, didn't go until 21.
So then it got all skewed here, so it kind of skewed the last couple of years.
And how much was that payment, Kevin? Do you remember?
It was right in the 91 at 90.
I thought it was over 100.
One something,
I'd have to
wasn't
look.
it?
I mean,
Wasn't it
it's-
175 or
Oh,
150
okay.
is what had been pulled out for the purchase order. I think it was over 100 grand,
Okay.
something like that. So, but
Well,
yeah,
and
good
that
point.
Would, and that would make a difference as well. So, yeah, I was just concerned, about the carryover and, not knowing that we're not going to have the funds until, March roughly, March of 22, or, for operating revenues to get replenished for what we have already. So the carryover. So.
And
just
Dave, I
something-
appreciate
just
that.
something to-
Yes.
just something to watch out for, but yeah, but
Exactly right.
But you mentioned that, and that is a factor to that I did not remember. So thank you very much for reminding me of that.
Thank you for bringing it up. So, math minds work well together. Are there any other questions on finances? Well, I have a couple things I'd like to say. First of all, Rilla, this is to you. This will be your last meeting as a council person, and on behalf of myself and the other council members, I really want to thank you for the service that you've had to the village over the last 4 years. And I was wondering if I could get you to come up front with me and Mr. Hannah. We have a little something for you. We're going to miss your smiling face every other Tuesday. But Rilla, on behalf of myself and the council, we've got a little certificate of appreciation, and it reads, it says, Certificate of Appreciation, this acknowledges that Rilla Fogel served as council member from January 2018 through December 2021 for the Village of Enon. Thank you for your service to the citizens of the Village of Enon. Thank you, Rilla. Okay, I've got a few items under communication. The first item is I received a communication from Scott Schmidt with TCC, and Dave, your appointment is up for, you had filled in for Elmer, I believe, and filled in for the rest of his 3-year term. So your term will be up at the end of December. And I did ask Dave if he was willing to serve another 3 years. And if it's the consensus of council, I would like to appoint Dave to the TCC board for a 3-year term beginning in 2022 through 2024.
Good with me.
Okay, and if I could have a motion on that, and Kevin then would be his alternate.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, call the roll.
Mr. Babcock?
Abstain.
Mrs. Sweet?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Fogel?
Yes.
Mr. Hannah?
Yes.
Dave, congratulations. I know you enjoy that. It's very insightful.
It is insightful, and it is some things you can make a difference on. So
I
it's
agree.
kind of cool.
Yes, congratulations.
And we need that continuity to continue, especially with the Enon Road project.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Next item I had, first of all, Kevin, thanks to you, and Rick, thanks to you for bringing it up. Those holes in the parking lot at the library have now been filled. And Kevin, I know that you had spoken to the owner or manager.
The subway area.
Subway, the post office, the subway, and it looks like they did a good job. So thanks for taking care of that. I also want to put out a thanks to the Green and Local School District, the art department, and Brenda helped me out, the art instructor.
Kevin Ferguson.
Kevin, thank you so much. We have a new set of Christmas figurines, or whatever you want to call them. Some of them were attached to the gazebo, and I know there was one down in Enon Park, but I guess the kids really like making those, and we appreciate getting them.
Yeah, they turn out good. They turn out good.
Look very nice. We received a thank you card. Let me see if I can find this here. And that was from, her name is Jan Wildman, and Jan is the daughter of Bob and Lois Fauble, who have passed. And she sent us a thank you, and it reads, "Thank you for your help and cooperation in choosing a spot to plant the memorial tree for my parents. My dad loved Enon, and he enjoyed his time on council." So they're very appreciative. And Mike, this one is, if I can find it here, I've got so many of them, about our police department, and you may want to expand on this. We received a thank you from Mr. Michael Collins, and it reads like this. I just wanted to pass along a kudos to the Enon Police Department. Last night, my daughter's car broke down on Fowler Road around midnight. The sergeant with the Enon PD arrived and provided much-needed assistance. I didn't catch his name. However, he was very professional and went above and beyond to assist. It was raining heavily. He stood out in the rain and assisted till we got the car on its way. I truly appreciate our officers who serve the village of Enon. Please pass along my gratitude. So, very nice.
Thank you.
Brenda, nice job on the tree lighting ceremony. It was a great turnout, and Santa's arrival was very unique.
Thank you.
It was, I think
Thank
it was
you to
a
the village,
snowplow,
too.
right? Come in, yeah.
Is
So
that what it was?
looked
I
good.
don't know. Thanks to Doug, too, for driving Santa and staying and taking him back to his originality.
Everybody did a good job. I've got one other item of communication, and we had received this via email. One of our board members on the Board of Zoning Appeal has resigned, and it reads as this. It's from Matthew Mills. Per my telephone conversation, please use this email as my formal resignation from the Board of Zoning Appeals. My family and I are moving out of the Enon area, and it was a pleasure serving the village in the limited capacity that I was able to. So, of course, we have an alternate if we do have any cases that come up, but we'll have to take this into consideration in that organizational meeting if we want to go out and ask for applicants, or, it'll be the council's decision on how to fill that. And that's all I had. Did anybody else have any items of communication? Okay, good deal. Kevin, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Mayor, Council, residents. The first item there is a November court report. For this month, we had a total of 10 cases, 8 traffic, 1 criminal, and 1 zoning. Total funds received for the month was $2,296. Year-to-date was $29,210. Total remitted to the state was $366.50. Year-to-date is $4,185. Total remitted to the village this month was $1,894. Year-to-date, $24,853.50. Total dispersed $22.96. Year-to-date, $29,210.
I'll move that we accept the mayor's court report.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Okay, call the roll, please.
Mr. Babcock?
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Fogel?
Yes.
Mr. Hannah?
Yes. Can you give any specifics on the zoning violation by chance?
It was a car parked on Broadway.
Okay.
An inoperative vehicle?
Vehicle
Okay.
on Broadway. Okay. Taylor Street, if you haven't been by it lately, there's no house there. It's all gone and hauled away and filled back in.
It's amazing how fast they come down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
That's
took him a week. So he was thinking maybe a couple weeks because he didn't know about the footers and how deep they were and stuff. But it wasn't as deep as they thought it was. So they got everything taken out and leveled back off. So I think it looks good, and they're a very good company, P&G Excavating. So that's all taken care of, and so hopefully we can, after the first year, we can kind of get a game plan together on what we're thinking to maybe do there. So, because I did talk to the residents and let them know kind of what was going on, and told them that we'd be in contact with them once we actually start talking about it. So.
Did we get any complaints at all, Kevin?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Nope. So they were very appreciative when I called, letting them know what was going on and stuff. So, let's see here. Did hire a new part-time employee. I ran an ad and had 4 people respond or turn in their resumes when I called to set up interviews. Only 1 answered. So I don't know if it's one of those unemployment things that they got to file with somebody, but only had 1 person. So, so he did start this last Monday. So, the next item on the agenda there is health insurance renewal time again. We did reach out and had talked to Megan from Waypoint. They did some comparisons with the United Healthcare Renewal and Anthem. And after looking at all the benefits, they're pretty much the same. I mean, from what we're paying now, or what
And that's
we got
United
now.
Healthcare now.
United Healthcare now
Yeah.
versus the Anthem there's only a few changes, some copay changes, things like that. But overall, it was pretty comparable. And by going with Anthem, who I'd like to propose we go with, we're saving the village $46,169.28 on annual premiums. So,
And wasn't wasn't the new one lower than what our premiums that we paid this year?
the monthly premium currently is $13,056. The Anthem is $12,200. Annual premiums $156,680, and then the annual premiums $146,572.
We're gonna save $10,000.
So,
And the employee costs stay roughly the same.
Yep. So I do have to fill this, the paperwork out and get back to Megan tomorrow so they can get it filed on time with Anthem and stuff like that. So, and we did have a employee meeting today with Megan, explaining everything to the employees, and they had some good questions, but overall, I think it seemed to go real well. So.
But it's a no-brainer if we go with Anthem and save $10,000 on what we're paying this year and $46,000 on a renewal with United Healthcare,
The
right?
renewal annual premium for United Healthcare was $192,741. So yeah, we're saving just a little bit over $46,000 by going with Anthem.
Wrong business.
So
Well, that'll help the budget.
Ready for next
Since our
year?
budget's already in and we already budgeted $46,000 more, there's a saving.
So if it's okay with council, I'm just
Yeah.
going to go ahead and start that paperwork, and that way they can get switched over and have time to get switched over by January 1. So, okay, thank you.
Good work on that, Kevin. Mike?
That's a pain. I mean,
Oh, jeez, talking insurance is whole new language.
it is painful, yes, and it is a new language.
I did talk to Ian Young, our Gaga Ball Pit Eagle Scout project, and he did come in last week, and I signed off on some paperwork stating that we are the beneficiary, the village is the beneficiary of that. So he's in the process of right now doing a little bit of fundraising, and he doesn't have an exact date that he's going to start in the spring, but it's going to be a spring start date. So to get that going there at Enon Park.
And which one was that again?
That was a Gaga Ball Pit at Enon Park.
The one that we went out and looked at, we
Yes.
scooted
Yes.
it back for him? Okay.
He will, no, the other one, Will Houghton. I did talk to him as well today, and he's working out some details with his Eagle Scout committee. And then he's planning on coming in January to one of the meetings to present that project again after he discusses some detailed
And
changes.
please remind us, which one was that?
That was the
one?
Memorial Gardens at
That was
Settlers Park
right, yeah.
for some concrete pads and some picnic tables. And
Gotcha.
so-
Okay.
So he'll be here in January. I am meeting him out there on Monday to discuss some concrete pads, how we did them in Enon Park and Galloway Park. He's just kind of wanting to know kind of the process on that, So can I ask him if he's, expecting us to, or wanting us to, do the concrete pads? He said, no, it's not, it doesn't work that way. They want them to do it. He just needed some guidance. So I'm going to meet him out there and kind of do some measuring, according to the tables that he's going to build and things like that. So make sure the pads are big enough. So,
Cool.
and kind of give him the process on how to prep and all that kind of stuff.
You know a good concrete man, I think, don't you?
I'll see if I can find one. Shh.
I'm sure there's an ordinance for how thick it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I'm sure. Let's see. We have a new electric contract coming up for renewal as well. We are currently with Freepoint Energy. We have been for the past 4 years, 3 years. 3 years actually. And our contract's coming up in September. So I've been getting some calls from different suppliers or third-party suppliers, and the last one I got was from Integrity Energy. They're just the broker. Freepoint will be still our supplier. Freepoint, they give us, we are currently right now paying 0.0426 cents per kilowatt hour. And naturally, everything's going up. Electric's going up just like everything else. So the rate that we can get locked in at is 0.0582. It went up a little bit, but she said that Freepoint would like to keep us as customers, so they kind of kept it as low as they could. So
And there was another one that had given you a quote, didn't?
it was over 6 cents, yes.
Yeah,
per
it was-
kilowatt
wasn't even
hour.
close to
Yeah,
that.
Right. So I'm going to have Paul look at this contract, and if everything's okay, and if council's okay with going into a 4-year contract with Freepoint Energy for our electric, I will so submit that as well. So
But that'll be the next meeting.
that'll be at the next meeting. I'll have a resolution ready,
Okay.
and that way we can vote on it. And if you wanted me to move forward, then I will and get it locked in. So.
Good deal.
They're willing to keep it open.
What's that?
They're willing to keep it open at that rate.
Yes.
Okay.
Did receive late this afternoon. Did receive an email from ODNR. It says, attached, please find the state and local project agreement for your awarded Round 27 Nature's Work project. Please have your document reviewed by the attorney, and then he has to fill out a sheet that he reviewed it and everything's okay. So I will be sending that off to Paul tomorrow. I just wanted to let you know that the next step is signing that. Paul signs it, we send it off to ODNR, they execute it, and when once we get the executed agreement back, then we can start. But naturally, that won't start till spring, and we have until December of 23, December 31st of 23 to have it completed. So
And the funds come when?
what's that now?
The funds come after we have the signed agreement?
The funds, I'll have to check on that for sure, but I think yes, I'll have to check on that for sure.
Or do we pay first and they reimburse?
I think some of that we pay first and then we
They
get
we get
reimbursed.
reimbursed.
Yep.
That's what I thought,
Yep.
but it wasn't sure.
So, but I'll just double check on that. Let's see. OPWC meeting for the Public Works Integrating Committee got rescheduled for tomorrow at 9 o'clock. It was December 1st. I went to it and they didn't have enough people show up on the committees for a quorum, so they rescheduled that for tomorrow. And that's kind of mandatory to be there to apply for OPWC funds. So I'll be going to that tomorrow. Zoom meeting on this Thursday with the Ohio Plan, Mike Hennekamp, to start discussion or more discussion on the employee manual and wage scale. Mike will be in on that. The mayor will be in on that. So that's this Thursday. And we had some wind damage at Settlers Park. One of the light posts blew over, didn't break. I don't know how it didn't break. I mean, it's like even the base didn't break. It's just like it looks like somebody wiggled it off the bolts and tipped it over. So,
And
we
the
are going
bulb
to be
didn't break.
remounting that. What's
even.
that?
The bulb didn't break.
Yeah, the bulb.
Yeah.
It was still hooked up and light. It was lit up. So it must have just came down real easy or something. But we'll be remounting that tomorrow. I had to get some new anchor bolts for that because the old anchor bolts were bent up and they were pretty in bad shape. So they were only 1/2 inch, and I've got 3/4, so it'll take a heck of a wind to blow it down again. So. You have a list in front of you that I came up with possible ARPA funding project ideas. These aren't in any order. It's just I just wanted to list them and get them out there because I know it was inquired about. The Enon Xenia Road Storm Sewer Project, wastewater line from the plant to Mad River, water treatment renovation, and premium pay for essential workers. I know that Mike has brought that to my attention, and we discussed it for a little bit about the premium pay possibility, and I'll let him kind of discuss that further in his report. So, but that's just a list of possible projects that we could probably do with the ARPA funds.
And just a little bit more on that. You guys have been working on this for several months, and sometimes it seems like the criteria is like a moving target, but the ideas that are on here seem like they would match up to the regulations, but anything that we would use the monies for, and I talked to Laura about this Friday when she came in, would be council's decision. You would say formally, this is what we're going to use the funds on. You would pass the resolution. The solicitor would look at it, make sure that those funds, in his legal opinion, match up. That way, we don't have any potential ramifications somewhere down the road where something was misinterpreted or whatever the case is. And I think that after talking to Laura, that is a very good way to do this. And again, you guys you've had several ideas, and Dave mentioned, let's get this stuff out, let's get it to council, and I ask you guys to get it honed down and get your projects here, and they're all good. The final decision will be council's, though, and you've got some good projects on here, especially the Enon Xenia project, not knowing exactly where that is going to head, but in any case, I appreciate the work you guys have done on it.
Thank you. The last thing on my list is just want to thank council, for another year, another great year. It's been a pleasure working with you all this year, and hopefully next year will be another good one, and keep plugging away and getting stuff done. And the guys, everybody's here working great, so I have no complaints at all. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gotten all these projects off the list, we're going to have to come up with some new ones.
Come up with some new ones. Yeah. Keep moving. Keep moving.
What was the new employee's name?
Phil Slade. Slade.
Any other questions for our administrator? Thanks, Kevin. Good report. Mike, welcome back. It's good to see you.
It's good to be back. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council, and good evening, residents. Yes, I was gone for a while, and actually, I'll just go ahead and throw that out there right away. When I went to the Chiefs in service there on the 14th, 15th, and 16th of November, Monday the 15th, I wasn't feeling too good and thought maybe I might be coming down with something. I was feeling pretty rough. In fact, I stayed in bed in my hotel room in Columbus at the Hilton, downtown Hilton, at the Chiefs in service, while everybody else went out and had dinner and talked. Tuesday morning when I woke up, it was painful, and needless to say, I won't get too carried away, but I was pretty sure I might have COVID. And I communicated with the other people I knew there, but there was 270 chiefs and administrative staff there, and I was afraid that I might have that. But at any rate, I did. I left, and I went, and I tested positive for COVID that day. And then that was on the 16th and the 22nd. I ended up finding out I had pneumonia. And Mayor, I want to thank you for. He checked up on me daily, and even though it took me a while to get back to him, because it was definitely exhausting to say the least. But I do appreciate that. I want to thank council and all the staff here that reached out to me. He kind of kept my head up because I was isolated for a while, and I was very ill. So it gave me a little bit of new outlook on life and being sick. I don't know that I've ever been that sick. If I have, it was for a day. But at any rate, I was very sick, lost quite a bit of weight, and I was gone for a while. So I'm back, and I got my strength back this week. I feel like I would like to say I'm 100%, minus need to gain a few more pounds. But thanks to everybody, all your thoughts and prayers for that, because that was definitely an experience. So thank you for that. And that, moving on. I don't think I missed anything.
We missed you.
I appreciate it, and I missed you. I apologize for being late to the meeting. The good news is I did learn a lot at the Chiefs in service, and it was neat to touch base with everybody. Also, my recertification, CLE, which I graduated from in 2019, a certified law enforcement executive, that has to be renewed every 2 years. The criteria for that is a 36-page application with, and again, it's fill in the blank, not every section that I have to complete. I have requirements that I have to meet every 2 years to keep that title, and a lot of it is continued education or something, obviously, in an administrative role. Because I got promoted to chief in October of 2019, that gave me some service points, and then my education that I got down at NCFI and a few other things, just throughout continuing my role in this lead position. I had well enough points, and I submitted my application last week. There's a $75 renewal that goes to the Law Enforcement Foundation, And this is all through the Ohio Association of Chiefs of Police, which is who organizes that. But I want to point out the Law Enforcement Foundation through the Ohio Association of Chiefs of Police is what paid my tuition to attend CLE for that 14 months, because there is a fee base with that, along with PELC was as well. And it is significant. Had I failed, you would have known it because you got an invoice for well over $5,000, which there are people, it's not one of those blanket sign off, but I'm good. I believe I'm good for 2 more years. And I went ahead and upgraded my nameplate, which I'll be ordering here shortly. I'll foot the bill on that personally, just so you know. Not that it matters, but my old one said Lieutenant Mike Holler, and my new one will have my title as Chief of Police. So, but I was hesitant about going with that because that was a lot of book work. But I'm very happy, and it was neat to come back and come back and be able to renew that. So in 2 more years, I'll have to redo it, which I will, so I don't want to lose that. But I just wanted to let council and all y'all know that I
Congratulations, Mike.
filled that out. So, and thank you for bearing with me when I went through that. My first item, I'm going to go a little out of order here. I'll save the ARPA for last, only because it's not as entertaining. I'm in a good mood right this second. I will be in good mood all night. But I want to talk about Shop with a Cop, which we had Saturday, December 11th. This is last Saturday. Counselor Lindsay Weaver at Greenon Schools, she has always headed this up for us as far as picking out the students. And she does just a phenomenal job. And honestly, without her, it wouldn't make us look as good. She pretty much does all the legwork, and I've made that very clear with her and her husband, who also comes along willingly and actively participates. So other than the public thanks to her and the school, Greenon School, for setting that up, I want to thank the residents of this community, because for the last 2 years, Shop with a Cop is where the police officers take kids from local schools selected by the counselor, and we take them out to Walmart on Bechtel, and they're allowed to spend $100 each along with the police officers. That's for Christmas. Our officers do come in. They don't have to, I guess, but they come in and they volunteer their time, which is a good thing. But it's a good experience. We've been doing it for several years. And this year, for the last 2 years, we haven't been able to have our fundraisers like National Night Out and our Pizza Fest and all that because of COVID. And the residents and everybody stepped up this year and donated, and they did last year too, but particularly this year, I noticed it because I was contacted and they said, "Are you going to do a Shop with a Cop?" I don't even know if we have the money. I've been sick for the last month and a half. I don't know. But I checked it. We were, and the residents supported that, and we were able to take our 20 students again this year and let them spend that money. And I just want to share some of it because I always get one extra gift card to kind of catch a little overflow in case our math skills are off, which sometimes they are. But I do have a mental note where it's a little too much, where I have to draw the line. But, you have children who are getting the toys and they get some tennis shoes. I saw one family, they got some pull-up type stuff. I mean, just stuff that we take for granted that we need. But it also, they get the Christmas gifts, the toys and stuff. And it's really neat to see that many people positively affected like that. Every year I get a little choked up when I even think about it. But it's a real nice experience to do that. But honestly, the police officers go, we don't really do anything. But I mean, we go and we show up in our uniform, which I know that's big to the kids. But really, it's the community and the school members that help set this all up is where the hat should go off to, in my opinion. So thanks to everybody, residents and everybody that makes that happen. I appreciate it, and I would like to see it grow since our school, we've encompassed more. Because we all know that I took a good stance on trying to keep everybody safe and healthy anyway. But my recent experience with COVID, I wanted to make sure that me and Lindsay worked it out. If the students, the children didn't want to attend, that wouldn't affect anything, and that we would get those gift cards to them through the school. And so we did do that with a few, and so everybody got it. But it went well, and it was neat. And so last year, Lindsay's husband dressed up as Santa, and we went house to house, and we handed out the gift cards that we had them drive through. But I really wanted to give them the opportunity to stand with the law enforcement, the police officers, and do that. And I did, the sheriff's office did theirs the same day on the other side of the county. So again, that's a big deal to us, and it was good. So thank you all for that.
Mike, that's a great program for our
Yes, it is.
community. It's just, it's incredible from what I've heard, the feedback I've heard over the years. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it one of our former officers, Ben Barrett, that
Ben Barrett, that's right.
suggested that we do that years ago? And it's just it's really incredible every year. So
Yeah, and we've carried the torch for him ever since, and I'm glad that he brought that to the village police department, or at least the way it was, and it's been functioning great. So
yes.
I hope this year my plan is, as long as everything goes well, I would like to see our national night out, which is in August. I want to see that full blown up again. I also want to plan for our Pizza Fest, or Music Fest, or whatever it's called, Pizza Fest. So I would like to see that, and I would like to see our car show back up. So if anybody's asking, yes, I plan on doing all that this year, well, with the help of a lot of folks. But yes, I would like to see that happen. So hopefully we can do that, and not just for the fundraiser, just because we need that. We need that, but I would like to see that. So that being said, for the residents it's called, I know I've spoke to several people. We haven't had a voicemail box option for a while. Me and Kevin found it a few weeks ago. I know I found it when I came back from COVID, and he had reached out to try to get it fixed. But in the meantime, Saturday's power outage killed the power in our building for I don't know how long, but our generator did give us electric. But that somehow reset the phone system where our voicemail is up and running again. I'd like to say that we fixed it, but we did not. The electric company the electric outage fixed it. But for the residents that have tried to call the administrative number for the police department, or even the administrative end, and tried to leave a message and you weren't able to, we didn't know. And then when we found out, we were working on getting it fixed. But it's up and running now. Hopefully it stays that way. And if for some reason we don't get a technician in before that, we'll just go pull the power to it and try that again. But, it was for several weeks, so I know there might be some frustrated residents out there for that. And I want to apologize. It was out of our control, at least, and it's fixed, so it's working now. Also, I reached out to our statewide Ford where we ordered our patrol car.
Yeah.
We're on our 4th sales rep. I just want to let you folks know. They did say they assigned this guy that's got 10 years of experience, who also is he told me he was a part-time chief up north, and that he understood my frustrations, and I passed on my frustrations to him. And I basically said that, it's making me look bad. It's my first car I ordered and I don't have it. But I did tell him, I said, I got to find something out soon, or I might have to pull it and go shop somewhere else. He did tell me that we have a VIN number, which having a VIN number is what the bank needed. Now, I don't personally have it right now. I don't have it in my, but he told me that we have one. Hopefully he was not just telling me that to make me feel better. But if we do in fact have a VIN number, that means that patrol car is on Ford's floor and being made. As soon as he confirms it and sends it to me, which he's supposed to, I will let you folks know. I apologize for the delay, but that has been a frustrating thing for me. And with the chip shortage, it's been a pain, but with this salespeople leaving and not passing information on, which is what's happening, and that's happening all over. I can tell you that's happening all over because I've dealt with it on another issue. It's frustrating. For everybody out there going to work every day, thank you for that too, by the way. I think I got that. I wanted to make sure I thanked Lindsay. I've got that. And we got Shop with the Cop. We're good. It is holiday season. School will be letting out soon for break. That has nothing to do with what I'm about to say, because I don't want to blame the youth, but I do want to say this. The holidays, people locking up gifts in their cars or storing gifts in their cars or valuables. This is a big time of year for thefts of all natures and things like that, particularly automobiles. So I know that the Village of Enon, some residents think you can leave your cars unlocked. I'm telling you that you cannot, and if you do, you're going to be a victim. So lock your cars. Motion lights are a fantastic thing, and if you see something suspicious, please call the Enon Police Department at the dispatch number at 937-328-2560, which is what all agencies in this county are dispatched through, and that's our central dispatch center, regional dispatch center after this month. But call us and then keep your stuff locked up so we can avoid any type of thefts and stuff like that and help prevent it. Moving on to the Arpa funding. I did research that. I was asked, the mayor had asked, and council wanted some stuff, and I've asked around for a while. I can tell you as far as the police part, there is not a whole lot that we can do with ARPA funding from the police end, though I advocate that a police car, because of the chip shortage, which our government says is a direct result of COVID, I feel like that's it, but that's not in the paperwork. But what is in there is premium pay, and premium pay basically is, the essential workers, and that included grocery personnel and stuff. But that was something that's in there, and it uses, I believe it's recommended. I don't know if it's highly recommended, but it uses terms that they encourage that funding to be used for that. Up to $13 an hour on top of your regular pay, and not to be paid into a retirement plan of any type. It'd be great if we could pay all the essential workers $13 extra on the hour, but that's not feasible. I'm a huge fan of the infrastructure. I believe that will help the village grow. I think that is in our best interest to use a majority of those fundings for infrastructure, the road and stuff like that is able. I think that will help the community, and it'll also it'll relieve cost out of the village in the future for road repair and stuff like that. So in my administrative business opinion, I feel that anything we can do to build the infrastructure of the village, that is in the best interest of all the funding, a large majority of it. That being said, I do feel that the essential workers defined, again, by the U.S. Treasury, something we definitely have to have Kavanaugh look at for anything other than the police officers, but I do know that it did mention some waterworks and folks and stuff. But police officers was clearly defined. And again, anybody that we have essential workers, I feel that if we can do for one, we should do for all. But I figured out some hourly rates, and I came up with some miscellaneous numbers that I'd showed you, and even at $3 an hour, which was one of the suggestions prior to doing some real math skills, if you would do that, at least at my end, that was somewhere around 67,000, which was extremely high. But if you did cash bonus type things, premium, which falls under the premium pay, you could give actually more money and it would cost less. I'm not really sure why that is, but we'll just roll with it. I read that it said March 3rd, 2021, all the way, that it couldn't be anything prior to March 3rd, 2021, it could not have already been compensated for COVID, but it does go all the way back to the original COVID-19 pandemic, which was 2020. At first I talked about doing some for 2020 and then 2021. I'd have to read more, but I'm not going to put a whole lot more time in it. I feel like separating the years out is just, it's pointless. Plus anything hourly rate would cost more work on our side as far as administrative, particularly Laura, our fiscal officer, and then of course administration to try to figure that out. So I don't necessarily recommend an hourly rate. However, I came up with some large numbers, some thin numbers and all that, but talking to some other chiefs, one in particular, Kurt Althouse, a very good friend of mine, Chief Kurt Althouse, that's over in the Vandalia area. They did give their full-time essential police officers, their fire and essential workers, they gave the full-time 1,000 and then 500 for part-time. And I thought that
these are just cash bonuses.
Yeah, they were just direct checks. And that I looked at 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. I was kind of going over because I know some people use some of their COVID relief money to do things like that, where we didn't, and then this ARPA money can be used for that if you didn't already use some of the COVID money for it, which we haven't. However, I have 4 full-time folks, and I have 1 part-time officer that would fall, and in my opinion, would fall under receiving any type of bonus. But it's interesting because if and I don't have my sheet in front of me, but I know if I'll give you a great example. If you gave a full-time employee $5,000, that's only $2.40 an hour, but the $3 an hour costs more. So figure that one out. I don't know. I think that was because of the hours worked. But at any rate, I thought a minimum of $1,000 for full-time and then half that for part-time would be fair. That's we got 124. That's that's not a very big percentage. So that's what I was kind of proposing. I believe Kevin has 5 full-time personnel. I have 4. So if you were to blanketly be able to do that, that's $9,000 at $1,000 apiece, which is less than 10% of the entire funds. That
Are you
leaves
talking
us.
about in 22 and 23 and
No, I was
24?
thinking like, hey, here's a bonus for working for during the COVID pandemic, and it's this number. I don't feel like separating the years out makes any sense. I feel like whatever number you come up, if you want to do 2,500, if you want to do $10,000 per, it just should be, hey, this is
Well,
for,
I mean,
this
we
is
have
working
the-
for COVID time, right?
We have the 124,000 now, but
Mm-hmm.
in a year from now, we're going to get another 124,000.
Yes, and I don't know, and me and Kevin did talk about that. I know that we can gain interest, we can earn interest on that money while it's sitting there, and I don't know how much that is, but I didn't want to take too big of a chunk because I feel like anything you earn on top of something is good, right? And then we have that additional funds coming down the road.
Yeah, but if it's in a bank, it's not, I mean, unless we're going to invest it or something, which is probably not what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Because there is always the potential that, the stock market could
Right.
crash or something. Not that it's going to. I'm just saying there is that potential, there is that risk.
We'd be like Florida.
But-
My crypto brings in 5% annual percentage yield, but don't get me started. And that, by the
But-
way, is a USD coin. But anyways, not
But, so you're
fluctuating.
just talking about a one-time for this one, and
Yeah.
then the potential that we would do it again when we get to second half?
If that's something that we thought was necessary, we could talk about it then. But I just thought initially if we took, whatever, 10, 15, 20% of that, use
Well,
that
not
for
necessary,
that, whatever
but-
it was. Well, not
But
necessarily
value
necessary.
added to help our employees and
If it
to
was something
compensate
we
our
were able
employees
to-
for all the COVID.
Yeah, if it was something
Stuff
we
that
were
they've
able
had
to
to
do
go
to
through.
use some of that later, we could. But if it's not something we're able to do, at least something's better than nothing. They're not expecting anything, but I know that it's been trying on a lot of folks. They've had to, the daycare and the family members sick, and then coming in here. At least, I know the police officers. They were coming in. They were like, man, this is. They were scared. So at any rate, it's just a thought. It won't hurt our feelings either way, but I just know that it's a small cost.
And that's why it's a legitimate project on here,
Mm-hmm.
because I think it falls under that. And to expand that beyond, I think you're probably going to have to get some type of interpretation from our solicitor if we were to go that route. But
Yeah.
very, very legitimate.
Yeah, and I'll give you the numbers for our, and like I said, I have 4 full-time officers, 421. They were all full-time, the 4 full-time, and then I have one part-time officer. Was here he came in on July of 21. So that's 4 full-time, 1 part-time, and then if we don't worry about separating the years out, that's just how that works. So for numbers, if you guys want to throw some figures around in your the head and come up with something. I've presented it, and that's my recommendation, at least from that end, as far as the ARPA funds for premium pay.
Kevin, you probably research this more, but when I was reading the language, I mean, I remember the first responders and the police and things like that. Your folks fall into that category?
I know the water would.
Okay.
So that's why I was trying to figure out if it just stops at the water department or get the actual definition, of essential work.
So the
What-
water
what all-
would, but not the street?
That's,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of a,
Street is mentioned in one, but I don't know if it's from the U.S. Treasury.
Yeah,
or not, so
I didn't
told him,
remember that. I'm
leave
not
it
didn't
saying it's
remember
not
the
there,
street either,
and
so,
they're
yeah.
critical people, but I just didn't remember that.
Right,
So,
yeah.
but I do remember the first responders
yes,
and stuff.
right.
So,
Thanks
All
to
right.
both of you for the work that you've done on this, because again, I think we have 4 very legitimate
absolutely.
projects
Absolutely.
here. And again, it'll be a council's decision. But in the meantime, Kevin, can we dig into a little bit more on the essential workers
Yeah.
for utilities and street, and just and even if we have to get an early interpretation from
Yeah.
Paul Kavanaugh,
yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
let's get his opinion as well.
And I'll throw this out there as it always. Again, I don't know how some of the other entities took it. Who knows? Maybe you didn't have any, but whether or not some people got bonuses and the others didn't. But if there's nothing that says you can't, the village as a whole can't. And then again, I don't want to step our bounds. That you can always if it doesn't fall under that, maybe find money somewhere else for you able to give something to others if you felt that. But that's just throw that out there. Again, I'm a bleeding heart, so I hate to see not everybody benefit. But at any rate, that's what I was tasked to do, and that's what I could find. So
And I appreciate it.
Yep. And that concludes my report. So if I'll take any questions, field any questions. That you
Questions
folks
for our
have.
chief?
Nope, just welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back, I tell you.
I'm sure it is, compared to where we were.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thanks to both of you for the work that you're doing. Greatly appreciated. So, we have no old business or new business comments from our public tonight. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Right
Merry
back at you.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor
Jeremy, you're
say
slipping, buddy.
aye. All in favor say aye.